Welcome to today's story, a journey filled with emotions, where secrets slowly unfold and the truth keeps you hooked until the very end. I believe I only began to truly experience life when I turned 64. I reflected on what had restrained me throughout those years. What had I withheld from myself? This introspective inquiry seemed to serve as both a chastisement and an epiphany. Logan stayed quiet, merely watching me, and that look filled me with a sense of courage. He conveyed his support not through touch, but through the power of his gaze. As my fingers gently wrapped around the straps and lowered them, I unexpectedly caught sight of you there. I have not seen you. I was simply recounting a brief story about our journey. Let me start over so you can completely understand it. The full story of how everything unfolded starts with me at 64 years old, never anticipating that something as straightforward as cleaning up could result in such an unforeseen twist of fate. The unexpected arrival of my step-grandson marked the beginning of a journey that awakened memories from long ago. 12 long years had elapsed since my husband Richard departed from this world, a period in which I had contended with the burden of solitude and the persistent echoes of widowhood. It was late morning when I finally decided to face the task I had been putting off for so long. As I began the task of cleaning out the basement, that disordered little nook of my home that I had consistently avoided whenever it crossed my mind, a tightening sensation gripped my chest. Yet, I had mustered the courage to face it head-on. The dusty room, brimming with old boxes and the stale aroma of neglected belongings, was a repository of a lifetime's memories. Upon opening the first box, an unexpected sight captured my attention. A vintage photo album from my youth. As I turned the pages, a specific photo caught my attention. At a beach party, I held a margarita in one hand, dressed in a vibrant orange bikini, laughing as if the world had no burdens. A carefree young Clara, glowing with happiness, looked back at me, a vibrant reminder of simpler times, or a photograph that stirred something profound within me, a mix of warmth and melancholy. Memories I had long buried, desires and excitement I had kept at bay, all surged back to the surface. Suddenly, a noise emanating from the basement door caught me off guard. I turned to see Logan, my step-grandson, standing there. For years had passed since I last saw him. He appeared more robust now, more mature, yet that recognizable smile lingered. The most recent occasion I encountered him, he was at the age of 23. At that point, he was likely 27 years old. What a delightful surprise! He raised a coffee cup high into the air. "Logan, when did you arrive?" I was surprised, but truly delighted to see him. He just replied as he descended the stairs, having noticed my car outside and decided to come in. I appeared to be in need of assistance. I was on the verge of saying no, that I had it under control, but before I could utter a word, he had already approached, a resolute expression on his face. Despite his youth, his gaze fell upon the album I was holding. "What is this?" he asked, and before I could grab the photo from his hand, I paused for a moment. He fixated on the image of young Clara on the beach, staring at it for what seemed like an eternity. It seemed like a lifetime before he finally looked my way. "Is this you?" he inquired. Indeed, I responded with a nervous laugh, reminiscing about my adventurous years from the past. Logan's eyes moved from the photo to me, revealing a blend of admiration and surprise. It was both disconcerting and strangely comforting. "It's quite strange to envision you in this way, yet it's also impressive," he remarked with a smile. "If you find these little confessions delightful, come along to my channel for more. Be sure to subscribe and enable notifications, as this story is only beginning to unfold. This is an experience you definitely won't want to miss." A spark of something awakened inside me, a feeling I found difficult to grasp. Long-buried feelings, emotions Richard had never fully awakened. They appeared briefly, yet it fell off, disquieting. I dismissed the nostalgia, quickly shutting the album. I urged that we begin moving these old boxes. Unbeknownst to me, the path that Logan's expressions and the storm within me were about to take would be significant, yet Logan softly stopped my hands as I tried to proceed. "Close the album. We really need to examine this," he said, a mix of humor and sincerity in his voice. It was astonishing to witness myself so youthful, lively, and distinct. "Let's take a closer look." For a brief moment, I paused. Some of the pictures in that album had a darker undertone. Beyond those carefree beach snapshots were bolder photos, moments that encapsulated the wilder side of my youth. However, witnessing Logan's intrigue and sensing the admiration in his gaze, I found it impossible to refuse. "Very well," I replied with a slight smile. "However, some of these photos may be somewhat excessive for my enjoyment." Logan laughed softly and agreed with a nod. "I'm sure everything's great," he said, placing the album in his lap as he took a seat next to me. His breath lingered near, grazing my skin as we turned the pages together. The beach party photos slowly gave way to images capturing my college years in nightclubs. A specific photo shows me in a snug, backless red dress, dancing with a hint of tipsiness. Logan held onto that image, his eyes locked for a moment that stretched just a bit too long. "Is this truly you?" he inquired, his gaze shifting between the photograph and myself, his expression glowing with a mixture of wonder and intrigue. "Music," I responded, a touch of shyness slipping into my tone. It was merely youth, after all. Circumstances were different in those days. Logan paused for a moment, then finally said, "You're incredible." He paused, seemingly in search of the perfect words, before continuing, "All this time I've only ever thought of you as my grandmother, but you were like a complete, I don't know, party girl." His words caused a flush to rise to my cheeks, yet they awakened something profound inside me. I contemplated how Richard had never expressed that level of admiration towards me. Even in my younger days, he had always been aloof, unyielding, and stern, but Logan was different. The look in his eyes revealed a profoundness that language could never express as we kept turning the pages of the album. The images became more daring. One photo caught me laughing with friends, wearing a short pair of shorts and a bikini top, while another displayed me dancing in a nightclub, dressed in a plunging black dress. Logan smiled gently and said, "It's a privilege to witness these. Your beauty was captivating even in your younger years." His words wrapped around me in warmth, yet they also awakened something unfamiliar within me, a strange feeling as I took in Logan's presence. As his attention drew me in, I became more and more conscious of the undeniable connection between us. He represented the ideal man I had imagined in my younger years, self-assured, openly appreciative, and enthusiastic about discovering the deeper aspects of my character. As we turned to the last page, Logan shut the album, yet his eyes remained locked on mine. "Clara," he spoke softly, "you are truly remarkable." His words caught me off guard and touched my heart. It had been a long time since anyone had looked at me in such a manner or shared feelings like that. As our eyes met, I sensed the charged atmosphere enveloping us, and as the significance of the moment sank in, a change began to stir within the cold, dusty confines of the basement. A warmth blossomed within me, sparked by Logan's presence, rejuvenating my spirit and bringing back a sense of youthfulness. Still, I found myself unsure of the direction these feelings could take. As Logan finally closed the album and turned to face me, the admiration in his gaze was clear and undeniable. "Clara," he said, his voice low yet filled with sincerity, "after seeing all those pictures, I must tell you this. You haven't aged a day. You continue to appear youthful and truly stunning." His words left me speechless. Even in my youth, I wasn't used to hearing such things, particularly not from Richard. My heart quickened, and a soft warmth spread across my cheeks. "Thank you, Logan," I said, even though I couldn't ignore the marks of time on my face. After a moment of pause, I summoned my courage to proceed. "Perhaps age has caught up with me, but my desires remain as strong as ever. I have always held on to them." Logan smiled, his green eyes fixed on mine, steady and unyielding. "I can sense that," he remarked. "You're not just beautiful, you're truly enchanting." I was briefly captivated by his strong, athletic build. His tall stature, broad shoulders, and gently curled blonde hair radiated the charm of a film icon. What truly captivated me was the confident yet gentle expression in his green eyes. "It's intriguing to hear such words from you," I noted, a subtle smile appearing on my lips. Richard was entirely different from him. He maintained a sense of calmness, remaining distant, never engaging in actions that would truly surprise or excite me. He was a good man. However, as Logan tilted his head, Fi listened intently, even though he wasn't the man I had imagined. He asked, and I considered turning away but realized I couldn't bring myself to do it. Indeed, I acknowledged that Richard was never as exciting or passionate as I had anticipated he would be. I'm not implying he was a bad man, yet there was consistently a feeling of something missing. Logan paused for a moment, then gave me a soft but confident smile. "It may be important for you to grasp that," he stated. "Perhaps this is the moment to explore what can fill that void." His words sparked something inside me as this young man demonstrated authentic interest. In my journey towards self-discovery and the newfound confidence that blossomed within me, an exhilarating thrill emerged, one I hadn't felt in years. At that moment, I realized that Logan was not just distinct from Richard. He represented the very essence of the man I had once imagined in my youthful dreams. However, a sense of uncertainty enveloped me, prompting reflection on where these emotions might take me and if they truly represented the correct direction to follow. After a short moment, Logan stood up, his hands finding their way into his pockets, his green eyes meeting mine again. "I'm going to put the bike in the garage and come right back," he said with a steady voice, yet the basement felt too confining. "Clara, please wait for me in the living room, okay?" His tone radiated assurance, and the manner in which he assumed control had a remarkable impact on me. I gave a slight nod in agreement. "Very well, Logan," I responded. Logan climbed the stairs swiftly, and as I observed him, my mind wandered to the way his passion for his motorcycle was affecting me. I pictured him engaged with it, whether in the act of working or riding, full of energy, passion, and determination. He represented the ideal man I had envisioned during my younger days. I whispered to myself, "He resembles the person I always envisioned." He is my step-grandson, and right now he is genuinely impacting me. I transitioned to the living room and awaited my next move. Logan soon returned, carrying a bottle of wine. As soon as my gaze fell upon the label, I knew it right away. It was my favorite rose. I was completely unaware of how he came to know or what prompted his thoughts, yet once more I experienced a spark ignite within me. "I obtained this from the finest source available," he remarked, a subtle smile playing on his lips. "I trust you will enjoy it." I expressed my approval. Surprised, I turned to Logan. "This wine is my favorite. How were you aware?" He shrugged, his expression indicating a reluctance to provide an explanation. "I observed small details when I was younger. It seems my memory serves me well." I took a brief pause. It was profoundly moving that this young man had retained so many details about me. "Logan," I spoke gently. "This wine is truly exceptional and remarkably considerate." "Thank you very much." He uncorked the bottle, filled 2 glasses, and offered one to me. "Let's create some wonderful memories tonight, Clara," he said. I lifted my glass, and with a toast, I took my first sip, feeling the unique taste of the rose dance on my tongue. My gaze remained fixed on Logan as the conversation unfolded. I was captivated by him, not merely because of his appearance, but also due to his thoughts and demeanor. At one point, as we shared a light conversation over the wine, we reminisced about old memories while maintaining our boundaries. His gaze held a warmth, an irresistible pull that captivated me. Within me, I sensed a change occurring, a blend of apprehension and exhilaration, yet I remained uncertain about the direction these emotions were taking me. Logan paused, suddenly leading me. He placed his glass on the table and redirected his gaze towards me. His gaze was now more resolute, more piercing. "Clara," he remarked. His voice was low, yet it brimmed with emotion he couldn't conceal. I gazed at him and became aware that my breathing had intensified. My heart raced within my chest. "Yes, Logan," I whispered, my voice soft and faint, as if it struggled to rise above the silence in that moment. Logan took my hand, his warm fingers gliding softly over my delicate, slender hand, igniting a surge of emotions within me. He started, knowing he probably shouldn't say this. "When I gaze upon you, I find it impossible to hold back. You possess a remarkable beauty. You exceed all my expectations." His words resonated within me, causing a warmth to rise to my cheeks. "Logan, I began, but before I could complete my thought, he paused briefly before leaning in. In that moment, my heart seemed as if it might cease to beat. As he drew nearer, I realized I should resist, yet the intense attraction I felt for him was impossible to ignore. Logan extended a warm hug, a meaningful and poignant expression of connection between generations. It was slow, and the world seemed to hold its breath for a fleeting moment. That kiss was gentle yet profound. A long-buried desire emerged as he extended a supportive hand, assisting me in standing while we shared laughter over old memories. I fully embraced the magic of the moment. As Logan's lips finally released their hold on mine, the tension that lingered between us was almost tangible, my heart pounding wildly. I looked at him, hoping my eyes could express the intensity of my emotions, but in that moment, finding the words seemed completely out of reach. Driven by an undeniable urge, a powerful impulse surged within me, urging me to lean in and kiss him again. This time, I took the lead in our connection, my lips finding his with a passion that stirred something profound within me. Logan seemed briefly surprised, but he quickly responded, our kiss transforming into something more profound and intense. His hand moved to my waist, his strong fingers pulling me closer with a soft yet firm touch. His warmth enveloped me, igniting every fiber of my being. As we reclined next to each other on the couch, the distance between us disappeared, his presence and breath mingling with mine, forging an electric intimacy. About him enveloped the moment entirely, leaning against Logan's chest. A restless feeling began to awaken within me. My heart raced, but this time it was not out of fear or hesitation. Instead, it was a fervent desire to surrender entirely. I gradually sat up, sensing his inquisitive yet serene gaze upon me. His eyes, so concentrated and intense, appeared to grasp everything unfolding within me without the necessity of a single word. As I rose, I paused briefly, my heart racing as I surrendered to the intense, commanding impulse. My hands reached for the delicate straps of my dress as an intense feeling of chains started to surround me, holding me firmly in place. Logan stayed quiet, his eyes locked on me, and in that stillness, I discovered an unforeseen well of strength. His support was evident, not through physical contact, but through the depth of his gaze. I pulled my cardigan closer around me, sensing an unusual feeling of youth stirring inside, as the dress slipped from my shoulders and fell gently to the floor. The fabric gathered around my bare feet, a tender touch that resembled a delicate puddle. In that moment, I took a deep breath, experiencing a release that went beyond the physical realm. It was a significant act of freedom, a release from years of limitation. When I finally met Logan's gaze again, the world around us transformed, and the admiration and awe in his expression were clear to see. He remained silent. He recognized that this was my moment to transcend my own boundaries, embracing myself completely. Logan gradually stood up from his chair and reached out his hand to me. His touch was, as always, both tender and strong, but this time I wasn't just embracing him. I was embracing all of myself. For a complete 15 minutes, I stayed in that precise position on the couch, hardly shifting at all. I felt on the verge of losing consciousness, but I somehow found the strength to persevere. It might have been the years of yearning that strengthened my determination, or perhaps I had developed an unusual fortitude within me. Logan's impressive, strong physique had always drawn my attention. However, the depth of my attraction has reached an unprecedented height. I felt a rush of exhilaration, as though I had momentarily escaped from everything around me. My heart raced, my body trembled, and every part of me felt the deep influence of his presence. For the first time in my life, I felt a physical exhaustion that was truly exhilarating. It was not a constraint, it was a release. As I found myself consumed by these intense feelings, my thoughts started to drift away. In a peculiar moment of introspection, I came to understand that I had not genuinely experienced life until this point. I contemplated, Richard, what had restrained me all these years? What had I withheld from myself for such an extended period? This introspective inquiry seemed to embody a subtle defiance as well as a long-awaited realization. Logan, still catching his breath, ran a hand through his hair, and the sight of him being just as affected as I was brought me a sense of comfort. He gave a slight smile as he adjusted his messy hair. In a soft voice, he remarked, "I'm going to take a shower." In that moment, I sensed the glimmer in his eyes and the gentleness in his voice. The serene resolve that supported it all turned everything into a vibrant reality. I watched Logan walk away. My thoughts remained focused on the recent events and the bittersweet joy of self-discovery at this stage in life. If you have traveled alongside me up to this point, I hope my narrative has struck a chord with you. There is a wealth of discoveries ahead, and you will definitely want to be present for every single moment. Don't forget to click the follow button, turn on notifications, and share your thoughts on this story. I look forward to our discussion in the comments. Your support means the world to me.